Hey, what's up, you guys? Finally, we're here. We're going to talk about Mattel Creations Hot Wheels Batmobile and my project on how I took the body of the Batmobile and completely replaced the chassis and the motors and all its components onto something brand new to make it a more faster, more fun car for those who want something like that that is not in the factory of the or the factory um, body that is given to you when you purchase the Batmobile. Um, First things first, I want to talk about before I talk about anything is that this has been really fun to do. I mean, I spent hours trying to figure this out. But it's also going to come with a lot of like minor sacrifices to the body of the Batmobile. That doesn't overall change the general appearance of it, but you do have to make some sacrifices to the chassis and to the Batmobile's body itself. At least the way I did it. You're gonna have to do that. But overall, I'm very happy with the general final product of the designing and modifying of this project. So, without further ado, let's talk about what we got so far, or what we used for this build. So we used a Fortec 2.0 chassis, and we are using a 3S battery. I think it's 5200 milliamp hours batteries. I never had the battery die on me. I don't think I've used it long enough for it to die on me, but I went for the bigger capacity because, why not? So I did that. Also have swapped out the motors and the ESC along with the motors. I'll show you guys right now. Let's do that. Okay, perfect. All right. So we have a custom motor here. It's hidden behind these fans for the motor. This actually works really well. These fans, you can get them off Amazon. Basically, they have a thermal sensor on there. If the temperature goes above, I think, 45 degrees Celsius, the fans will spin on, and then they will turn off if it goes below that, which is awesome. And then you got the ESC here, 120 amps, it outputs, and yeah, it works with, I think it has to do 3S batteries, between 3S and 7S batteries, I think it says something like that. It would work with. I'm using 3S for it. And then you have the factory um, receiver and servo here that came with the Fortec 2.0 body kit. You're going to notice a couple of things that are really weird. You got this top part right here, and then you have this right here. These are a quick release system. This is a quick release mounting for the front and then for the back right here. These are the quick release systems. It was very hard to find locations for these. I mean, the front was pretty clear where I wanted to mount it, but the back was a problem. Like, I wanted to put it here, here, and then if I put it here, how am I gonna like quick release it? I have to put it on the outside. Okay, on the outside, I can't put it too low because then the back of the car would sit too low, and then you have to figure out a mounting for it on the body of the car. So the back was the hardest challenge. The front was pretty straightforward. Some fine tuning with the front mounting, but the back was the hardest challenge. And I think I finally got it to where it's perfect. Bigger wheels. Let me show you guys so these were the factory wheels that came with my my VTEC, my Fortec 2.0, right? They are a lot smaller than the ones I bought. I wanted to get wider and bigger wheels because the body of the Batmobile is so wide and bulky that I feel like these small wheels just proportionally did not make any sense for this build, so I wanted to upgrade to bigger wheels. And with the bigger wheels came with another challenge that I wasn't expecting. So I'm gonna flip this over. So with that, we actually had to cut a little bit here on the frame of the chassis, which didn't affect any screw holes or anything. It was just like little excess amount of plastics we had to cut here. It wasn't clean cuts, but they're cuts, right? Yeah, it doesn't affect anything. The only thing that it really affected was the battery mount. The battery mount had to be cut a little bit too, but the battery mount still works. Right, quick release here, comes off, put it back on, right? So that still works, and you can see how close it gets here. It's not touching, right? You might think, okay, you cut a little bit more than you had to. Well, this is just in case. It's not going to happen most likely when driving, but when the wheels are at max speed, the wheels expand, and if they do expand, it's going to get a lot closer to this gap here. So that's why I had to cut it more than it seems like I had to. And same thing on the other side. Very close to that servo, but it never touches the servo. The servo is like super clean, hasn't been scraped or anything, so that is awesome. And then for the back is very tricky. So luckily I found outsourced materials for this that weren't weren't really available to the general public. I bought these wheels that are 14mm hex wheels. That's not great considering that this body kit was meant for a 12mm hex wheels. So you had to do some kind of modifying or conversion here. And so what I got here, this is kind of like a different one that I'm using, but it's the same idea. This is a 14mm hex hub sleeve. It converts 12mm to a 14mm, right? So you slide the 12mm in there, oh, or like this. Oh, it's very tight. Boom, clicks in, right? That's secure. And then you put this into the wheel, right? I've used this, and this is a 12mm 1-inch extender for the rear wheels. The rear wheels we couldn't cut into the chassis here because the battery, one of the batteries here, which is not the biggest deal, we could have maybe cut here and had space for the battery to still sit in there, but that's still way too close for comfort for the battery. But the worst spot is if we were to cut, if we wanted to cut, we couldn't do it at all because with the motor, it would be right at the motor mount where this is where the cut would need to be. And so that plan was just out the window. No shot. We could not do that. We couldn't do what we did to the front, to the back. We just couldn't do it. There's no way. Which is awesome. It works well. Extenders haven't breaking or anything. Nothing's gotten loose. Everything works really well. Yeah, the mounting. So these mounting clips here were actually used on another body for a vehicle. You can actually, I think you can buy these separately and use it yourself. But yeah, these were used for another vehicle, and I cut mostly this one. This one right here was like super long. It was like another 3 inches long. I had to cut it down like all the way almost. And then this one wasn't cut really. I only cut the sides here, the foam, but that wasn't really necessary. But yeah, that's what I do. And then honestly, I just zip tied them on. That was the fastest and cheapest and strongest way to do it, is to zip tie these on. And you might be thinking, man, these are so loose. How can you have these be so loose? Well, with my testing, with multiple zip ties being reused and repurposed every single time I'm troubleshooting and testing these, if you have the body mounts too tight, any like bump or aggressive driving, the body of the Batmobile gets ripped off because there's not enough play for the mounting, right? There's not enough play. So the looser, like, you don't want it too loose, but you don't want it too tight either. So you want a little play. That way the body can be a little bit more sway, especially when you're doing donuts, right? Because the body, it's gonna go to one side when you're doing donuts. And if this was stiff and then your body wants to move, tilt to one side, it's gonna rip the clip out. So that's why you want it to be a little loose, front and back, right? Right, just a little loose. But yeah, Batmobile. It has been through a lot. I'll tell you what. Oh man, it just needs some shine and it's fine. Oh yeah. Yeah, it has some scratches on it, not gonna lie to you guys. It looks worse on this camera than it actually does in person. Really take apart the engine. It's very sketchy to do because I think it's glued on. Like, there's like two pieces of the engine that you have to like almost pull apart. But if you do it carefully, you'll figure it out. It's like, I think it's like two screws to open it, and then you like pull it apart. It's sketchy, but once you start doing it, you'll figure it out. Okay, so mounting on here. So you got the rear here. Let's do it the other way. I do left to right. Okay, you have the rear here. See how these are a lot more stiff to the body? Rear here and then the front here, right? And the quick release system, right? So all you do is literally stick your fingers here, pull back on both, and lift straight up, and it comes off. It's awesome, right? And then you have the LEDs, you got the headlights, headlight. It's hot glued on, except for this one. This one needs to be, or not hot glued. These are Gorilla glued on. This one didn't dry properly, but it's still hanging. It's still on there pretty well. I just had this taped down here for wire management, so that way they don't get in the way of anything. And then you got the reds going here, down here, and then back to the rear lights, and then you got the blues going through the engine hole here, where the original lights were, and back to the back. As you notice, there's no belly, but we did repurpose the skirts here, right? So you could still use these here. I did the cuts here. The cuts, you don't see the cuts unless you're actually looking for them. Like when the car is like that, no one can see it, right? You don't see it at all. It's only when you go, oh wow, look at your shitty cuts. Okay. But yeah, most things were repurposed. Let's talk about the flaws and the sacrifices we had to make. You guys probably already noticed the biggest sacrifice is going to be the interior seating design, which I still have. You can't use this anymore. You just can't do it. It's not going to fit. There's no shot unless you want the body to be like super far from the wheels, right? There's like no shot of using this ever again. I tried to use it. I actually drilled a hole here for the antenna of the receiver to go through. But then when I tried to put it on, it just, first of all, I was blocking airflow for the ESC and the motor fans. It was just not gonna happen. It was not gonna fit on this. So can't use this anymore. You probably could use it. Here's the one way you could use it. You have to cut out the entire passenger seat and you only have the driver's seat. For some people, that's like, okay, at least, I could still fit a Batman figure in there, right? But I feel like, having it being one-sided, and to me, it's like, is it worth it, right? It's just not symmetrical at that point. But yeah, let me show you guys mounting this. You guys probably think, oh man, it's not gonna be so easy to mount or whatever. I think it's pretty easy to mount. Um, here's a male to female connector here. So I have one always, this is for the LED lights. I have one always connected to the receiver, and then I have right here. This is just for quick release right here. So there you go. All right, that's in. And then I just kind of just hide the cables like right here. I just kind of tuck it away, right? And then when you go put on, I do the front first. Hear that click, it's in. And then I put the back on. Back ones takes a little bit longer to do, but it's in. All right. Body's on. Do a lift. Boom. Right. It's on there, man. You see how the body has this sway to it? You want that, like especially when I do donuts. You know, the body's gonna go to one side here or one side here, right? So it's great. Belt of it. See how everything is. So this is the front, this is the back, right? Let's get the side profile here. The rear's pretty good. Front here. Look how that lines up. Like, come on, dude. Look at that lineup. Come on, man. You can't, dude, like, come on, right? So, even though they line up pretty well, since I got the bigger wheels, there's still some sacrifices, especially when the wheels expand at top speed. I had to cut, I'm trying to get the angle here. Ooh, go this way. I had to cut here. You see this hole here? I had to cut that there. Because the wheels were just, when they expanded at max speed, they would just cut into it every single time. And it was getting to the point where I might as well just take it off because it's literally about to come off anyways. So that's exactly what I did. But yeah, this thing's a tank. The beats. I've done multiple drop tests, just like vertical drop tests. It doesn't. There's a problem with it popping out during those drop tests. Because the mounts, the quick release mounts for that were on the chassis, they were too tight, so there wasn't room for like wiggle. You want it to wiggle a little bit, or else it just pop out because there's too much tension, right? And then let me show you the quick release. It's so easy, right? Right, one finger, where is it? Right there, right? I'm on it, and then the other finger right here, and then pull back, left shirt up. Super nice. It's so nice. And to put it back on, just kind of trying to find the center here. I used to be really good at finding the center. There it is. Okay. And then you go to the back, pop that on, and boom, back on, ready to go. That's my favorite part, is the quick release system. It's strong, one, and two, it does what it's called. It's a quick release. That's what you want, right? I'm just trying to think of anything else to talk about. I'll leave a list of parts in the comments below. If you guys have any particular questions of why I did certain things, go ahead and ask. I mean, this has been, a project that, in my opinion, could be done different ways. If you use similar materials, you probably do it different ways. I'm just one of the only people that's done it this way, so it took a lot for me to troubleshoot, figure out, and do a lot of problem solving on my own. It's right there. That's been my workbench for the past week or so. 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since I started this. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. But yeah, ask questions. I'll try to answer them. I mean, this is like a hobby, man. Like everyone, I'm glad I've met so many people through this. Everyone's so excited about this, and or they are as excited as I am about this, and it's cool. I love this hobby. This is like a really cool hobby, and I mean, honestly, this is like my first RC car, legit RC car plus modding at the same time. Like this is my legit first one. Not even kidding you. Like I mean, I pre-ordered the Batmobile like way like right as the movie came out. I pre-ordered it, and I knew then that I wanted to mod this, and I did it. So it's pretty cool, pretty exciting stuff. All right, thanks you guys.